Electrification has come to the new and improved BMW 5 Series. This 8th generation of the sedan that fits right in between the 3 Series and the 7 Series will now come in a fully electric version, the 2024 BMW i5. Yes, BMW is giving electric cars a solid go and slotting its EVs into the same bodies as its bread and butter gas offerings. This plan follows the one introduced by the 4 Series and i4 and the latest 7 Series and i7, whereby a single platform underpins gas and battery electric versions. This i5 series is much larger in all the major dimensions and more conservatively styled than the new 7 Series. Its overall length is up by 3.9 inches, 1.3 inches wider, and 1.4 inches taller. On top of that, the wheelbase is stretched by 0.8 inches to 117.9 inches. BMW's revamped 2024 i5 series will fill the gap between the award-winning i4 and the extra-premium i7 flagship. And let us tell you, the i5 is available in 2 guises. The eDrive 40 is rear drive only, and it's fitted with a rear-mounted electric motor that's good enough to deliver 335 GP and 317 lb-ft of torque, all that for a claimed range of up to 362 miles. On the other hand, there's the all-wheel drive M60X drive, which adds a front-mounted motor worth an additional 256 GP for a total system output of 593 bhp and 605 lb-ft of torque. Both i5s use BMW's 81, 2 kWh usable lithium-ion battery, along with 11 kWh charging functionality as standard. However, this can be increased to 22 kWh if the optional onboard charger is fitted. The i5 faces a growing number of medium-sized luxury electric cars made to attract luxury car buyers looking for eco-friendly choices. Since we're on the topic of models, let's talk about how the new models look. If you thought the BMW's i7's split headlight front end and underbite rear were perhaps a bit too quirky, you'll likely find comfort in the i5's traditional 3-box shape. It has single-piece headlights with right-size kidney grills. In person, the EV actually looks much smaller than the current 5 Series generation, despite it being 3.8 inches longer, 1.3 inches wider, and 1.4 inches taller. The dash-to-axle proportion, aka the distance from the base of the windshield to the front tire, is also quite long, and the hood spans far forward. BMW's big nostril grille makes quite an appearance, but it isn't as massive as the one found on the 7 Series, nor does it have the buck-toothed grin of the 4 Series and M3/M4. Now, unlike the exterior, the cabin is much closer to a carbon copy of the i7, which is good because BMW nailed it with that model. A 12.3-inch digital gauge cluster pairs with a 14.9-inch infotainment touchscreen behind a single pane of glass traveling across half the dashboard. You will find that sweet strip of ambient lighting, just like in the i7, ringing the front half of the cab in high-end crystalline glory. The material that makes up the door panels and window switches may not be as premium as the 7's high-gloss stuff, but it all still feels very high-end. The i5's cabin is just as spacious and posh as that of the gasoline-powered 5 Series. The battery also doesn't intrude on cabin space. However, trunk space is slightly less generous here than in the 5 Series. Moreover, BMW is launching a new faux leather upholstery called Veganza in the i5, along with a set of glass interior controls that add a classy touch to the sedan's interior. Lastly, heated and ventilated front seats with massage are optional on the eDrive 40, but they come as standard on the M60X drive. Talk about premium comfort on the go. Moving on towards the infotainment and tech in this revamped i5 series. The i5's dashboard is dominated by a big curved panel that combines a 12.3-inch digital gauge display as well as a 14.9-inch infotainment touchscreen. The most exciting part is that BMW's latest iDrive 8.5 interface is super easy to use and can be updated through over-the-air updates if need be. A head-up display is optional, but all models come with Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, in-dash navigation, a wireless smartphone charging pad, a Harman Kardon stereo system, and an onboard Wi-Fi hotspot. Now we'll talk about the most anticipated details of this revamped i5 series, its EV motor and its performance. We know that in this i5 series, two i5 models are offered, starting with the 335 HP eDrive 40, which drives the rear wheels via a single electric motor, whereas a hotter M60 xDrive model adds a second electric motor on the front axle for a combined 590 GP. Apart from that, the M60 models also come with active anti-roll bars, a sporty suspension tune, wider tires, and rear-wheel steering, which are all intended to give the car a more athletic and sporty outlook. Since this BMW i5 series has two models, they offer two completely different vibes when you take them for a drive. During the test of the single-motor i5 eDrive 40, it exceeded their expectations. If comfort is this model's primary goal, then its mission is accomplished. Air springs are standard in the back, with some good old coil springs up front. The sample test car was equipped with optional electronically controlled dampers. No matter the mode they chose, the ride quality was super pillowy, but not so much that it felt loose or uncontrolled. In short, it's exactly the kind of ride you would expect from a luxury sedan for serious business folks. The car and driver also tested out the i5 M60 prototype, and they were impressed by the sedan's agile handling, confidence-inspiring levels of cornering grip, and muscular dual-motor powertrain. While the eDrive 40's acceleration was simply adequate, the M60's was closer to extreme, befitting the M badges plastered all over the body. This model's suspension includes M-specific tuning, so the drive is a tad bit stiffer than the eDrive 40, but it still remains compliant enough for daily driving. If you like a little or more than a little sportiness, this is the model to get your hands on. After the test drive of both the eDrive 40 and M60 models, the car and driver estimated that the more powerful of the two powertrains could rocket the i5 to 60 miles per hour in just 3.3 seconds. That is insane. Let's move on to talk about the range and battery. An 84.3 kWh battery pack lies beneath the i5's floorboards, which, according to BMW, holds enough charge to power the eDrive 40 model for 295 miles between charges. Whereas the dual-motor M60 model is less efficient and carries an estimated range of 256 miles per charge. The car's battery pack can be hooked up to DC fast charging stations and is said to be capable of charging from 10% to 80% in the span of 30 minutes on such a connection. BMW claimed to have benchmarked the i5's 400-volt electrical architecture against its 800-volt competitors, and it believes it's close to reaching charge parity with those better-endowed rivals. The automaker also claimed that it has retooled the charging software to allow the battery to accept the highest rate of charging it can as quickly as possible. Speaking of charging, BMW will also include 3 years of free 30-minute charging sessions at the Electrify America charging stations with every new i5 you buy. Now that is a tempting offer. Moreover, according to the EPA, the most efficient i5 model is the eDrive 40, which is rated as high as 105 mpge highway. On the other end of the spectrum is the M60 xDrive, which is rated for only 86 mpge highway. Apart from all that, here are the juicy safety features that come in this new revamped i5 series. We can't wait to try out the latest iteration of BMW's Highway Assistant. Think of it as a Teutonic Super Cruise since it permits hands-off driving with monitoring via an eye-tracking camera situated inside the gauge cluster. Its latest magic trick is that the driver can confirm system-suggested lane changes with just a mere glance at the corresponding side view mirror. Now this is a feature that works with impressive competence. Plus, the idea of changing lanes without first activating the turn signal should come naturally for many BMW owners. So far, we think that BMW is executing at a high level with its mainline EVs. Both variants of the i5 exceed expectations and offer everything that a mid-size executive sedan should. Plus, BMW can guide its current buyers into the future without forcing them out of their comfort zone by playing it closer to the familial chest with the i5. Well, this brings us to the end of the video. We hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to let us know what you think in the comments down below.